Welcome to the Open Pakistan webinar series. The Open Pakistan webinar series is an initiative of Open Program for Pakistan. These programs are fully funded by Regional English Language Office (RELO) at US Embassy, Islamabad for the English language teachers and learners all across Pakistan. These programs include Open Global Online courses, Massive Open Online courses, webinar series, and then engaging our alumni into different fruitful activities. If you wish to stay updated about RELO Pakistan and its opportunities, you can visit www.facebook.com/RELO Pakistan. You can also subscribe to RELO Pakistan YouTube channel. If you wish to stay updated about Open Program for Pakistan, you can visit www.evolution.com.pk/open programs. Under the series of 5, today we are broadcasting our last webinar, that is 5.10, and the topic for our webinar is incorporating flipped classroom methods for teaching writing. The presenter for our today's topic is Sabina Victor. Sabina Victor is an experienced educationist and certified teacher trainer. She has served in many renowned schools in Karachi, not only as a teacher but coordinator, senior headmistress of SSC and O-levels, as well as acting principal. Her expertise lies in English literature and English language. The purpose to upgrade professional skills has led her to the 7 massive open online course, that is MOOCs, courtesy of English Language for Educator and US Department State. Furthermore, she attended the Open Virtual Conference for English Language Professionals led by RELO Pakistan at a public affairs session of the US Embassy, Islamabad on January 30th, 2021. The Spelt Quarterly Journal featured her article on Literature, a Tool for Teaching EFL Learners in 2018. She has done MA in TEFL from Allama Iqbal Open University and also has done BA too. Today's webinar will enable the participants to understand the concept of flipped classroom methods, to learn the basic steps for teaching writing to middle school students or EFL learners via FCM. Lastly, you will be able to learn ways to make their writing classes effective and student-centered through various activities. I would like to welcome Sabina to present our webinar. It's all over to you, Sabina.
The topic of my webinar is incorporating flipped classroom method for teaching writing. Now, why I chose this topic for my webinar? Writing is a process that requires time and guidance, and this process is sometimes a struggle for students. They face hindrances in writing well-organized paragraphs, sequencing ideas, using appropriate vocabulary and grammar. Generally, class time is devoted for listening and reading skills, and writing becomes a neglected skill. The current COVID-19 situation has changed teaching and learning through technology and innovative pedagogies. And in order to keep the teacher-student interaction going on, especially for the writing classes, one must understand the concept of the flipped classroom method. The content for the webinar are as follows. What's a flipped classroom method? Why flip a writing class? Sample process of flipping classroom for teaching writing to middle school students. Benefits of FCM for students and teachers, challenges and conclusion. Now, before I proceed to the definition of flipped classroom method, let me share with you all the background of this method. Around 2007, a new teaching approach began to gain support. It was pioneered by 2 high school teachers of Colorado, namely Jonathan Bergman and Aaron Sams. They discovered a software tool that allowed them to narrate and record PowerPoint presentations. They used this tool to record lectures that they posted online as video tutorials so that students who missed their classes could catch up. Later, they realized that these video tutorials were not only viewed by students who missed their classes, but by those students who wanted to revise their lectures which they had attended earlier. During the same year, a financial analyst named Salman Khan, popularly known as Sal Khan in the Silicon Valley, began creating video tutorials on mathematics for his nephew and posted them on YouTube. These video tutorials developed a large following of students who required tutoring in maths. Khan quit his job and established the Khan Academy with the mission to create other video tutorials in all kinds of disciplines. Thus, the idea to deliver content to students via short online videos spread to higher education. And educators realized that by delivering content to students via short online videos helped to free up valuable class time for productive and effective learning activities. And this change in the teaching practice came to be known as the flipped classroom. Now, what's a flipped classroom method? According to Cobb and Steele, a flipped classroom is sometimes referred to as inverted classroom. It allows students to review lectures, lessons at home. Class time is utilized for discussions, interactive activities, individual or independent work, and the teacher is a facilitator or guide who is available to respond to any question that may arise. Now, inverted classroom is a type of blended learning that delivers instructional content often online and outside the classroom. Now, in contrast, the traditional classroom method is more of learning and less of practice. And most of the information in a traditional classroom is given by the teacher, and students only attend lectures and practice materials at home. They receive less feedback for their homework, and most of the activities in the class are done under the control of the teacher. Now, in this slide, we are going to see the revised Bloom's taxonomy in a flipped classroom. Now, flipped classroom is based on the revised Bloom's taxonomy. What's the Bloom's taxonomy? In 1956, a cognitive psychologist named Benjamin Bloom unveiled the Bloom's taxonomy for educational objectives, popularly known as the Bloom's taxonomy. In its framework, Bloom's divided the cognitive domain into 6 levels: knowledge, understanding, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. The lower levels of the cognitive domain relate to correspond to the creative, the lower levels of the cognitive domain correspond to creative thinking, while the higher levels of the cognitive domain fall under the categories of creative and abstract thought. In 2001, Anderson and Krathwohl re-evaluated the Bloom's taxonomy that resulted in the revised Bloom's taxonomy. They made amendments in the cognitive domain, which consists of 6 levels that are as follows. Number 1, remembering, which means recalling relevant information from the long-term memory. Number 2, understanding, which means making sense of what you have learned. Applying, which means making use of knowledge in new ways. Then next is analyzing. That means breaking concepts into parts in order to understand how each part relates to another. And lastly, creating, which means putting new knowledge into practice through innovative ways. Now, according to Anderson and Krathwohl, 2010, the lower levels of the cognitive domain that are remembering and understanding are practiced outside the classroom through activities such as showing videos, reading, and other materials. Whereas the higher levels of the cognitive domain that are applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating are practiced during the classroom through interactive activities. Now, Berkman 2016 in his blog stated that the flipped classroom is based on how valuable class time is used with the guidance of the teacher as a facilitator who is at the top of the layers of this triangle. Now, in contrast, if you see that in the traditional classroom, during class, the teacher introduces new materials to the students under the lower levels of the cognitive domain, and those are remembering and understanding. While outside the class, students are responsible for their homework under the domains such as applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Now, why Bloom's taxonomy is important for a flipped classroom? And there are 4 reasons for this. Number 1, it promotes active participation of students in their learning. With the advancement in technology, the content shared by the teacher are often accompanied by questionnaires and interactive exercises that allows them not only to see who works at home, but they're able to identify the standout students and struggling learners. It also promotes classroom discussion. And lastly, it strengthens students' teamwork. Peer instruction is encouraged, where the brighter students help those who study at a slower pace. Now, this slide relates to the 4 pillars of FLIP. Now, according to Bergman and Sam, 2012, the 4 pillars of FLIP actually are the baseline or the roadmap that contains the principles of effective flipped learning. Now, F in the FLIP stands for flexible environment, which means it provides flexible spaces for students' learning. It indicates flexible expectations of educators in terms of students' learning. L in the FLIP stands for learning culture, which focuses on student-centered approach. I in the FLIP stands for intentional content, that is to help students develop conceptual understanding and procedural fluency, and educators make use of this to the maximum so that class time is used to adopt student-centered methods and active learning strategies. And P in the FLIP stands for professional educator, that focuses on the role of an educator as a facilitator who observes students, provides feedback, assesses their work, accepts constructive criticism, and tolerates chaos in the classroom. Next, why flip a writing class? Now, there are 5 reasons which have been stated on the screen. And these 5 reasons are: number 1, to achieve specific learning objectives planned for teaching writing. Number 2, provide additional instruction via apps such as Google Classroom, MS Teams, WhatsApp groups, and Edmodo, which is a very popular social networking app popular among educators and students. Next, cater to different needs and learning styles of students and give more time to students to reflect, discuss, and write. And lastly, which is the most important one, ensure students remain healthy and safe during the current COVID-19 situation. Now, in this slide, you're going to see the sample process of flipping a writing class for middle school students. This table is an adaptation of the process of flipping an advanced class prepared by Algasab in 2020. Now, amendments have been made to show how teachers can make effective use of an essay writing class for middle school students. Now, after careful planning, this is how the table looks like, and the topics have been planned week-wise. Now, topics can also be planned by the teachers day-wise, week-wise, and monthly-wise. But here you see it is all planned week-wise. Now, since this is an essay writing class that focuses on grades 6 and 7, so the teacher will begin with the basic concepts. In the first week, it will be what's a paragraph, and out of class activities, students will watch a video recorded by the teacher, read a handout on Berger method parts of paragraph, and websites used for preparing this content by the teacher are schoolhelper.net and wikihow.com. And after students view the content, they will attempt a graphic organizer worksheet for plotting ideas, which has been prepared by the teacher using education.com. And in class activities, the teacher will work with students in groups of 3, where they will discuss their topic. Individually, they'll write the topic sentences. In pairs, they will have pair checking of the topic sentences, and individually, they will write an essay. In the second week, the teacher will do the types of essay and grammar. Now, one thing is interesting to note that grammar and vocabulary can be taught any day during the week. But I have given this over here in the table to show that how grammar can also be taught to students through flipped writing. Now, in the out-of-class activities, students will watch a PPT on the types of essay prepared by the teacher, read a handout on the differences between descriptive, narrative, argumentative, and expository essays. They will attempt a quiz on identifying the types of essays, and the teacher will also revise tenses with them by sharing a video clip from YouTube. Now, in class activities, again, the teacher will review the tenses by making students do worksheets that will focus on inserting correct tenses in closed passages that would relate to the 4 types of essay. And after that, there will be peer evaluation and discussion of answers with the teacher. And in the third week, the students will study descriptive essay. And out of class activity, they will watch a video recorded by the teacher on descriptive essay, read a handout on descriptive words with examples, And they will attempt 2 different worksheets that will focus on descriptive words and brainstorming a person, place, animal, or thing. And these worksheets will be prepared by the teacher using eslflow.com. And in class activity, again, the teacher will work with students in groups of 3, where they will choose a character and describe its personality. And by the end of the class, students will share the collaborative work for assessment. Now, in the 4th week, it's up to you. If you want, you can carry on with descriptive essay, but I chose narrative essay so that you may know how to flip a narrative essay writing class. Now, out of class activity, the students will read a handout on narrative essay designed by the teacher, visit the websites on vocabulary for story writing by viewing supereasystorytelling.com, watch a PPT on figurative language, practice worksheets on identifying figurative language and narrative essay writing techniques. And these worksheets will be prepared by the teacher after going through the website, that is ereadingworksheets.com. And in class activities, the teacher will work with students in groups where they will create stories from writing prompts given by the teacher. And at the end of the writing workshop, the groups will submit their essays for assessment by the teacher. Now, after going through a detailed sample process of flipping a writing class, next we come to the benefits of a flipped classroom method for students and teachers. Now, for students, if technology is available, it leads to accessibility to lessons and content. Students utilize digital content for gaining knowledge beyond textbooks. It enhances students' motivation and interaction with peers and teachers, provides a good platform to seek help and ask questions, and students are able to think out of the box, and flexible space allows students to improve their writing skills. For teachers, it promotes a student-centered teaching and learning. Teachers have an idea on how much time to spend with each student. Recorded lectures and content can be reused, facilitates students through practical application, fosters more teacher-student interaction, and transparency of teaching improves communication with parents as they are also able to view the content shared by the teacher online. Now, this slide focuses on the challenges faced by both students and teachers. For students, it can lead to a digital divide as technology in the form of computers, smartphones, and gadgets cannot be accessed by students who belong to low-income families. Increases screen time. If students are exposed to the screen for hours, it can damage their eyesight. Inaccessibility to content due to technical difficulties can also arise due to power failure, poor internet connection, or breakdown of a computer system or a gadget. And for teachers, it becomes an additional workload as it requires thorough planning and preparation, where teachers have to do research for the content through various websites, then record videos and lectures and prepare worksheets. So it becomes tedious and time consuming for teachers. And another challenge is teachers rely on trust, since the flipped classroom method is dependent on the active participation of students. So one must trust that students will watch videos at home, but there is no guarantee that students will oblige or cooperate in a flipped classroom method. And after weighing the pros and cons of the flipped classroom method, the conclusion is, despite the drawbacks, the flipped classroom method can still be a very effective hands-on approach to bettering students' essay writing skills. These are the references that I have used for preparing my webinar. And if you have comments, questions, or suggestions, please write to us on open@evolution.com.pk. Happy teaching and learning. Thank you.